I'm rolling.
You know, man, I've been lucky enough the last few months to play Facebook, swearing ball with that old man, and I don't know, man, we're fucking sad, man. I got his castle. I can tell you thousands of stories and millions of good times, Devin. But I'm just honored to be here today. I wish he was here, but I know he's here in spirit, so, you know, the brothers, man, what's what we got is our brothers. I don't know, man. It's another one miss, so. What do you say, dude? I mean, God dang, I don't know. I just grabbed what I got to spend the last video with them, man. Because they did have that meeting reunion and they're going to jam with me. God, I got excited, you know? What a sudden fucking, just another sudden death, man. It fucks your head up, man.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard the last thing.
Matter of fact, I actually quit drinking because I was getting too drunk, and once he died, I went nuts, and I haven't drank since, so. I don't know what to say, man. I miss you.
I'll be right back.
I'll mail that to you. I'll mail, I've got all
Andy, have a good night, man. Cheers. Cheers, Dad. I love you, brother.
Hi there. How you doing?
Hi. Shoot! I need a contact plus in here.
Well, it's backstage, Abby. What do you want me to do about it?
It's backstage, right?
We're trying to get Dev high in heaven.
I don't need to be. I'm going in for some major stuff, so.
Here, any words about Dev?
Oh, any words about Dev?
Dev.
I loved him. Loved him. Absolutely.
Michigan Association of Police alumni. What's up, Cliff?
Talk to Chris Roberts about Dev.
Thanks.
Any words about Dev?
Yeah, all kinds of words about Dev. Kick-ass bass player, good friend. Called me 2-boy one too many times, but I put up with him, man. Put up with it. But no, we're fun.
Did you make it out, brother?
This is the most important thing, Scott. Solo is A to B to A. If you get that right, that's what I'm saying. Is there a bass around?
You have a bass drum, right?
A bass? No. I don't play the banjo.
Should we find a bass around?
You might need to borrow one for the
Let's work on that.
You're playing bass?
potentially.
Sweet, brother.
On drums.
Do you play the bass?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought maybe you were just going, yeah, fucking give me the fucking thing. What are we playing? 3 chords? I got this.
Made me realize that not a lot of people you have a bond in a relationship like that. And I think it makes me appreciate the ones I have a lot more. I miss them. That's all.
Good stuff.
bass player. I'm missing. Me and him were locked. You know what I'm saying.
Perfect.
About 40 minutes. Don't go anywhere because our good friends Resonation are coming up too after us, so it's not over after us. We appreciate them coming. Appreciate Bobby Rat, Matt Ruffino, the boys they brought up, Dave Cocaine, Jason Pierce, Bill Cozy, who the fuck am I forgetting? Who else played? Scotty Scoop, all the brothers.
I don't feel like it.
Alright, to get to, we're here for Dev. All his friends that showed up tonight, I'm sure he'd be touched, as we all are. Seriously, I mean that. I know we're kind of goofy up here. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but I'm being serious. He would be touched. We're very touched. All his friends could make it out here. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you so much. Some of you may or may not know we were actually doing Meanies practices. We were going to do another Meanies show. Right when all this happened, we practiced a couple days before. We were supposed to practice the day Deb passed away, and I mean, needless to say, I'm still in complete shock.
Alright, my memories about Devin, what I thought of him. One of the nicest people I've ever known. Very respectful. Anytime he ever came over my house, he was always very respectful of my wife and the rules of the home. He would, should I take off my shoes? Should I, should I swear around your wife? And I'm like, oh, you can say anything you want. She swears like a sailor too. He was very giving. Every time he came to my house, he brought a gift. There is a difference. The one that means the most to me, and I still have it, is he made me a spider out of wood and metal. A little black, like Black Widow. Metal legs and a wood body. I still have it. It meant a lot to me. To him, it might have been nothing, but to me, it meant a lot, and I still have it. Another thing about Devin, every time I seen him, every single time, he would always take my left hand, and he would always run it over my fingers, and he'd be like, you haven't been practicing enough. You need to play more. Because they need to be calloused. He goes, you better get on that. And and his style. The man had style. I mean, he would be on stage with a long gray overcoat, a scarf. I mean, what else can you say about him? He was an awesome human being. An awesome human being. And I was really looking forward to the Meanies reunion because it would mean I would get to see him again. And it's a goddamn shame what happened. It's so bad. Love you, brother.
Say some words about Dev, that's all.
Are we rolling? We're rolling. I met Devin in 1985, and he came to my parents' house in Northville. We jammed a couple times together, and nothing really came out of that. But we reconnected later when he played with the Meanies and I played with the Feisty Cadavers, and we both had to, share the same band house there. And I hadn't talked to him in a long time, but had recently become friends with him on Facebook. And then I also heard the Meanies were going to perform again too. They were practicing. I was really looking forward to reconnecting with him. I always felt like I had like a special friendship with him, even though it was maybe not the closest friendship. That there was something special between us. So I will always miss him. And he's a great guy. I'm so happy to be here and see him again.
I put this whole mess together for you, brother. do that shit for anybody.
It was dreadfully cold, snowing and turning dark. It was the last evening of the year, New Year's Eve. In this cold and darkness walked a little girl. She was poor, and both her head and feet were bare. Oh, she had had a pair of slippers when she left home, but they'd been too big for her. In truth, they'd belonged to her mother. The little one had lost them while hurrying across the street to get out of the way of two carriages that had been driving along awfully fast. One of the slippers she could not find, and the other had been snatched by a boy who laughingly shouted that he would use it as a cradle when he had a child of his own. Now the little girl walked barefoot through the streets. Her feet were swollen and red from the cold. She was carrying a little bundle of matches in her hand and had more in her apron pocket. No one had bought any all day or given her so much as a penny. Cold and hungry, she walked through the city, cowed by life. The poor thing. The snowflakes fell on her long yellow hair that curled so prettily at the neck, but to such things she never gave a thought. From every window of every house light shone, and one could smell the geese roasting all the way out in the street. It was, after all, New Year's Eve. This she did think about. In a little recess between two houses she sat down and tucked her feet under her, but now she was even colder. She didn't dare go home because she had sold no matches and was frightened that her father might beat her. Besides, her home was almost as cold as the street. She lived in an attic right under a tile roof. The wind whistled through it even though they had tried to close the worst of the holes and cracks with straw and old rags. Her little hands were numb from cold. If only she dared strike a match, she could warm them a little. She took one and struck it against the brick wall of the house. It lighted. Oh, how warm it was and how clearly it burned like a little candle. She held her hand around it. How strange. It seemed that the match had become a big iron stove with brass fixtures. Oh, how blessedly warm it was. She stretched out her legs so that they too could get warm, but at that moment the stove disappeared, and she was sitting alone with a burned-out match in her hand. She struck another match. Its flame illuminated the wall, and it became as transparent as a veil. She could see right into the house. She saw the table spread with the damask cloth and set with the finest porcelain. In the center, on a dish, lay a roasted goose stuffed with apples and prunes. But what was even more wonderful, the goose, although a fork and knife were stuck in its back, had jumped off the table and was waddling toward her. The little girl stretched out her arms and the match burned out. Her hands touched the cold, solid walls of the house. She lit a third match. The flame flared up and she was sitting under a Christmas tree that was much larger and more beautifully decorated than the one she had seen through the glass doors at the rich merchants on Christmas Eve. Thousands of candles burned on its green branches, and colorful pictures like the ones you could see in store windows were looking down at her. She smiled up at them, but then the match burned itself out and the candles of the Christmas tree became the stars in the sky. A shooting star drew a line of fire across the dark heavens. "Someone is dying," whispered the little girl. Her grandmother, who was dead, was the only person who had ever loved or been kind to the child, and she had told her that a shooting star was the soul of a human being traveling to God. She struck yet another match against the wall, and in its blaze she saw her grandmother, so sweet, so blessedly kind. "Grandmother," shouted the little one, "take me with you. I know you will disappear when the match goes out, just like the warm stove, the goose, and the beautiful Christmas tree." Quickly she lit all the matches she had left in her hand so that her grandmother could not leave. And the matches burned with such a clear, strong flame that the night became as light as day. Never had her grandmother looked so beautiful. She lifted the little girl in her arms and flew with her to where there is neither cold nor hunger nor fear, up to God. In the cold morning the little girl was found. Her cheeks were red and she was smiling. She was dead. She had frozen to death on the last evening of the old year. The sun on New Year's Day shone down on the little corpse. Her lap was filled with burned-out matches. She'd been trying to warm herself, people said, and no one knew the sweet vision she had seen, or in what glory she and her grandmother had passed into a truly new year.